Tens of thousands of football fans came to Highbury. Electrifying.
Yes, guys, and welcome back to the Unhinged, the Undefeated, and the Unbreakable TCP Live, coming at you live at 7:30 p.m. every Thursday evening on YouTube and available ad-free on YouTube memberships and Patreon.
Yeah.
So, how's everyone's day been? Rohan, there's something we need to talk about. Obviously, we're going to spend the whole show talking about it. I think it's important to address the real issue. Who's going to be the next Pope?
It's Pope Leo, isn't it?
Pietro Parolin is 70, and he's Italian. And if he's Italian, then the next. No, hang on. If he's Italian, Pietro Parolin is going to be him if they choose Italian. Look at these numbers they do. Wait, hang on. Can I? They've got like data viz on who's going to be the next Pope.
Here's a question for you.
Scott Willis has done this.
Has he?
Look at that. Majority of cardinals came from outside Europe for the first time under Pope Francis.
Here's a question for you. What is the smallest country in the world?
The Vatican, surely.
Correct. Yeah.
Was that your fact of the day?
Yeah, because we were talking about it, so I thought, just throw that out there.
So I'm thinking today we talk who's the new Pope. I repotted a plant today, so we could talk. That's probably at least 20 minutes of podcasting.
Are you into gardening now?
Why did you say that with such venom? Oh, you're into gardening now?
I really don't. I've never been able to get into it. Never been able to get into it.
It's not a TV show, mate. You can just go outside and. I'm thinking. I could probably maybe my keys. I could talk you through my keys and sort of what each one means. What do you reckon?
Yeah, go on. That's quite nice to discuss. What you got?
Oh, but I don't want to share my keys in case anyone.
No one's a lock pick.
No, but like, could you? Is it possible from a picture of a key to get a copy of it? Probably.
Maybe, yeah.
And then if you worked out where I live, you could get in my house.
But that's where you have to have a dog.
You got a dog?
But anyone wants to come to my house, be my guest. There's a Rottweiler right there, and he is not socially the most friendly. It's not.
Rohan lives at the Leicester Stadium, everyone. So if you want to go do that. How depressed have you been today? Out of 10.
I don't think I've spoke any less at the office since I started working than today. Someone actually came to me and said, "You okay, Rohan?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine."
I've been asked if I was okay 3 times today.
I was like, "Yeah, I just got so much stuff to do." So I just put my thing on busy. I didn't have loads to do. Just didn't want to talk to anyone.
So, full disclosure, everyone. I haven't got a plan at all for this.
I'll be honest, I really didn't want to do this today. I really, really didn't want to do this. I still don't want to do this. I feel like it's only 7:30. It's only 7:35.
It's actually 7:36. Okay. And this is the lack of detail that's kicked us out of the Champions League. Yeah. I vote we just have fun and try and have to do some therapy. That's what we're going to do. We're going to have a therapeutic session. We're all going to feel better. In an hour and a half at the end of this stream, we're all going to say, yeah, I feel better about life. Aren't we?
I thought I was going to go Munich.
Matt G, I need a hug. Matt.
Yeah. I need all sorts of things, not just a hug.
Khan. The pain. 5/25. Waiting for the next patch.
What is that? Some sort of Fortnite reference? Or
I don't know what that means. Don't worry about it. It says we need 6 hour. See, the people need us, Rohan. The people need us.
I don't know how people do these 6 or 7 hour streams. I don't know how they do it. Unless it's for a good cause.
Of course. We should do a 24-hour stream.
Yeah, if it's for a good cause, it's I love it. But if you're just doing a 6 hour stream, then come on, fix it.
The problem is you need enough. To be fair, with George, we could work it so while he's asleep, we're doing it, and while we're asleep,
who's going to do it? So he's just going to be on his own.
It's George. He'll be fine. Good evening, guys. Says Vlad. Hopefully this serves as therapy. This feels like one of the worst days ever. We're so close yet so far. Yeah. In turn, let's start here. I've got like some topic suggestions, but we'll just see where it goes. In terms of days under Mikel, where does this rank? Like in terms of the lowest for you?
It's definitely up there. I have to go back because we've had some really. I've had some like really bad moments.
Chat. Let us know what could compare to this, because I'm thinking like post Olympiacos, probably post the Villarreal semi-final.
Newcastle, that really hit me. Just the manner of it, and like we spoke about it before. Like the first 10 minutes sets the tone, and ironically, we had a fantastic first start to the game, right? But I remember that Newcastle game. We went into there. It was on Monday Night Football. They were making it into this big spectacle with all the pre-match stuff, and you could see all the fans. And I was thinking, oh my god, this just seems like a cauldron. And then I remember Nuno Tavares tried to play out. He loses it immediately. I thought, oh god, we're in trouble here.
In the piss yellow kit.
We're in trouble here. And then Tomiyasu was already half injured. One of his legs was already gone. Saint Maximin does him and ruins his other leg. He comes off. Then we bring on Cedric. Ben White was operating on one leg. Gabriel was half injured. And yeah, it was just, that game was... That's up there. I'll be honest, right? The 4-1 at the Etihad for me was a real killer. It was a real killer. Because it was like confirmed finito that season. It was like finito. Like there was like a little bit of hope that, if we go to the Etihad and we do something, you never know. But then, that was like... And again, that first 10 minutes as well was awful. So...
Yeah, I think that the City 4-1, the Newcastle, because we did feel... I think we did feel we peaked at that point.
Basically every game against Newcastle at St. James's Park, barring the one in 22-23.
Yeah.
Olympiacos.
Reece, I'm sorry, man. Sorry to hear about your breakup. You'll get through it. Hinge tips. Yeah. Remember, the algorithm is built against you. Don't take it to heart.
Make sure you get a lot of your face.
You'll be all right.
Get a lot of your face.
Take tips off this guy. Thank you for super chats. We'll come to them as soon as possible. Yeah, I think the Newcastle game, the Paris Saint-Germain game, horrible. Olympiacos, the City game. To be honest, mate, that Villa 2-2 earlier this season was horrible. That was really bad for me.
Yeah, I was there as well for that.
The Villa lost last season as well. That was bad.
That was bad. I didn't... Bayern Munich away for me was bad because of the manner of it. But it's different, isn't it? It's like there's bad moments where you're really unhappy with the team, and there's bad moments where you just feel like
it's just bad.
I'm sorry, I can't go too hard on the team and the manager from yesterday's standpoint. I can't do it. I'm sorry, I can't. But it's just still that dejection of like, we've got nothing to play for now this season.
I think
apart from pride.
Yeah. Do we have that still? Do we still have that? Like, yeah, I think the place to like have the conversation about the manager, and we will have the conversation about the manager, is from you can't do it based off one game against PSG, and especially that game. Like, I don't think that's fair. You can have it over a wider conversation, I think, and what it symbolizes, etc. But yeah, just in terms of like just pure dejection, that's up there. I think maybe this is the worst. Maybe it's recency bias. I'll have to see in future, but
no, I don't think it's the worst for me. I think that Man City games definitely were. That Newcastle game when top 4 was on the line. That really did.
It's because you had Neville and Carragher on Monday Football celebrating. Honestly, I think he's taken his foul.
And also what they were saying about Xhaka after the game as well. Xhaka kind of like he was quite firm with what he said, and they were like,
Yeah.
that was
Oh, mate, I'm telling you, Brighton 3-0 on 22-23. That was
Yeah.
horrible. I'll tell you, I was also getting broken up with that day.
Yeah, I remember you told me.
I literally packed up my bags and went home that day. That was so like from just like a personal life perspective, that was
Yeah. And
horrific.
I was in the ground for that, and I have to say, I do remember from that game, Kivior hit one delicious switch. I do remember that.
Shut up.
One
Tyler
delicious...
Blake, thoughts on Arteta's post-match interview? Thank you for your super chat. I thought it was kind of ridiculous personally, but I understand.
I haven't listened to it.
The crash out. What did he? Can someone? What exactly are we saying here? As in which bit?
Because there's this thing, right, that's happening where it's classic media clickbait where they'll take a small snippet of the interview and then they'll paint it as the narrative of what Arteta was frequently alluding to. I think he said it. I think there was his pre-match as well. There was a clip came out that looked quite bad, but then when you actually listen to his interview, the full length of it, it's but I've not listened to it. I don't know.
Tyler, if you're in the chat, can you tell me exactly? And I'm not being facetious. I'm genuinely asking. Can you tell me what exactly you're referring to? Because there's a few different things. The one that I would say, I had it on. Was it on the BBC? It might be on my. Sorry, give me a second. It's on my camera roll, I think. Yeah, this was it. So this was from the BBC. This was top. I don't know if you can see that if it's the right way around. This was top on the BBC, which was for the past 2 seasons. We have 2 Premier Leagues. Manager Mikel Arteta has playfully claimed that Arsenal won the past 2 Premier League trophies because they had more points at the end of those campaigns than Liverpool when they won the title this season. That is not.
This is what I'm saying.
This is not what he said.
Yeah, this is what they do.
If you disagree, well. Yeah. But this is what they do. Yeah, this is what they do. And yeah, anyway.
To be fair, right, I'll be on. I've done a bit of freelancing before, and I won't say with who, but I'm not saying I have the plethora of experience within it, but I do have a little bit of an understanding of what is the major incentive there for a specific publication, and yeah, I don't like it personally, but
yeah, because if you look, here we go. So this is on BBC. So yeah, manager Mikel Arteta has playfully claimed that Arsenal won the past 2 Premier League trophies because they had more points at the end of those campaigns than Liverpool when they won the title this season. Arteta was referring to the fact Liverpool were crowned this season's champions with fewer points than Arsenal achieved when finishing runners-up to Manchester City in the previous 2 campaigns. Winning trophies is about being in the right moment in the right place. Liverpool have won the title with less points than we have in the last 2 seasons. With the points of the past 2 seasons, we have 2 Premier League titles, the 43-year-old said with a smile.
Yeah. What's wrong with that?
Claimed that Arsenal won the past 2 Premier League trophies. So I think I genuinely think what this might be is yes, the them trying to whip up something. And what frustrates me as well is people who aren't Arsenal fans will read this and think that's generally what he said. But I also think there's like a translation thing, because Mikel would say last 2 seasons we win, as opposed to we would have won. Like it's the conditional tense. Someone who's dual who's bilingual will be able to explain this better than me. But there's like a conditional tense. Mm-hmm. And when he says last few seasons we win the Premier League, that means we would have won the Premier League, which is a very different point.
Exactly.
I think is unfair to say that that's what you're saying.
Yeah. I just don't like it. I think there is, and I think there's I think as one of the super chats alludes to, I feel like what it is you take a small snippet of what he says, then you will make that your headline, and then that's what brings the impressions, the views. That is what happens. That is generally what happens. But unfortunately, people won't want to listen to the full interview. And when you actually listen to his full interviews, he's not what it's painted out usually. No. He's very honest in his assessment. He can get defensive at times for sure, but every manager does, doesn't he? When they're
let me try and find that clip of him just so we can put that one to bed, because and then we'll come to Tyler's Donnarumma MVP saying we're the best in Europe. Let's come to that in a second. Arteta Premier League. Do you remember the clip? I saw it going round, but
Which one?
Here we go. I've got it. Let me just. Sorry, guys. Give me 2 seconds just to get it on the screen. Because I have to put it on Chrome, otherwise you guys can't hear it, and that's going to be a bit of a difficult situation. Right, here we go. Can you all hear? No, Chrome tab. Can you all hear this?
Liverpool has won the title.
Yes.
Okay, let's watch the whole thing. I'm just going to remove that thing. So this is exactly what he said.
Winning trophies as well is about being in the right moment, in the right place. Liverpool has won the title with less points than we have in the last 2 seasons. With the points of the last 2 seasons, we have 2 Premier Leagues. So you have to be in the right moment, in the right place. Hopefully here we are in the right moment, in the right place in Paris tomorrow to earn the right to win.
I really don't have a problem with that. That's he's literally just saying it depends. Like in the same way that when Liverpool got 97 points, they were unlucky because City got 98. Like I really don't have, and I think especially the way he's saying it, he's like just giving an example.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't. Yeah,
and he's saying about us as well in the context of this moment. Like hopefully we're in the right moment to win it now. Like it's all it is. It's not deep, is it? It's not deep.
Yeah, I think they know what they're doing, making their head down like that. But this is it, Giles. Conditional, we would have, because if he often doesn't say we would have, he says we have. Then the other one. Sorry, Tyler put his quotes in. Where was it? Tyler, here we go. Donnarumma MVP. Let me find that exact quote. But basically, he was saying Donnarumma was the best player across the 2 legs. Do you agree?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, I do as well.
Surely everyone agrees to that. Surely.
Yeah. I think people are talking about this. Unless I'm mistaken, I think people are talking about this interview. Let's watch it. Just give me a sec.
So I'll congratulate PSG on the final. It's not about merits, it's actually about what the scoreline shows. This game is about, and this competition about the boxes, and in both games, their man of the match was the same player, their goalkeeper.
Today was Ashraf Hakimi.
I think it was clear who won the game today for them. And I just spoke to them, and they had the same view on it. So very disappointed to not to be in the final, but we have to accept that the performance is not enough. At the end, you have to have the capacity to win the game in the box.
Who is it that you spoke to? Sorry,
to a few people of them. Yeah.
Oh no, you shared that opinion.
Yeah.
In terms
all
of
them.
Events within the game, there was the penalty call. You didn't seem happy with that. Of course, Raya stepped up. He made the save. Saka managed to pull one back, but it wasn't enough.
Yeah, that's all in the past now.
What? And I'm genuinely. I'm not trying to be obtuse. What's people's issue with that? They're saying, are they annoyed that he picks out? Is like it seems like an excuse, or
from what the chat is saying, I think
he's annoyed, or is that?
I think what they're alluding to is Mikel said that the entire PSG team, well, a few people on the bench said that Arsenal are the better team across the 2 games, but then Enrique came out and said, no, we didn't. That's not the case. I didn't say that.
Okay. Well, I
personally didn't like how he just blanked for a sec, to be honest. But but also he's just lost the Champions League final. He's going to be a bit spiky. I'm not trying to make excuses for him. He shouldn't have blanked her. Yeah.
And frankly, would I prefer him not saying, well, actually they said we're the better team. Just go, congratulations, we move on.
Yeah.
Because you don't need to know that. Like it feels a little bit like you fail your exam and you're like, well, actually, there was a very loud ticking clock in the room, and that's why I didn't. So just take it.
I think he fumbled a bit there, to be honest. He didn't need to say certain things, and like you said, I didn't enjoy how he blanked her. But listen, we've all been there, and it like when you are stressed, you say things that you do regret later on, and
people are saying that's not the video.
No, I'm sure that is it not?
Yeah, some people say not the video. If it's not the video, let me know what the other one is. We'll come to that. O'Malley, in that interview, you could tell he wanted to say we needed a damn striker, like I said in January. So he said the boxes. Yeah, Mikel's in the boxes thing. He's said for a while, but he means. I think he said ultimately over in a Champions League semi-final, the game is decided in the boxes by someone doing something special. Is basically what he said, and that's what he's saying in code. I think in the same way that when Newcastle beat us, he said Isak is real quality. That's what he said.
Yeah. It's kind of like indirects, but it's very explicit in how he says it. Yeah. You know.
Personally, so okay. So let me put it this way: I would prefer him to be less spiky, but I understand it. I would prefer him not to use the PSG said we were better than them thing.
Yeah.
Just in an interview, personally. But again, how big of a deal it is to me compared to other things is very, very small.
Absolutely. Yeah.
The only other thing is were PSG better than us? How do you feel about that? Like,
right.
Go on.
Yeah. So I had some morning thoughts, got it out there. And I think Mikel, I did see a little bit of the transcript where he alluded to how they were the better team over 160 minutes out of the 180.
Oh, yeah, that's what he said. Yeah.
I don't agree with it being 160. I saw it more like 150, but it's being pedantic, right? Large portion of the game over the two legs, I felt Arsenal was superior. But that doesn't. Well, what that shows is Arsenal belong on this stage. I think if we sit back and we put emotion to one side, and a big positive is our performances in the Champions League and how we've grown relative to the previous campaign. Like, I don't know about you, but when I looked at our performances last season in the Champions League, and you look at that Bayern Munich tie, I didn't like the feeling after Bayern Munich away because it felt like we went out with a whimper. We didn't do enough for me to warrant the win. I felt we could have done a little bit more. And Thomas Tuchel, tactically, after the 20th minute in the first leg, he switched up, he changed things, and a lot of teams are starting to do the same thing on our right-hand side, going a lot more aggressive, this homogeneity that we're experiencing, and we didn't really react to it. And tactically, we got outdone there. And also, from a quality standpoint, they had the better moments. This time round, I didn't feel that. I thought tactically, we did really well. We had such a good game tactically yesterday, such a good game. And we responded really well in the first leg as well after the 25 minutes. But that's not enough to win the Champions League. It's just not. And unfortunately, I've said it many times, the preeminent driver is quality. We all watched that Inter Milan-Barcelona game, right? This is what makes football exciting. Nobody cared about the tactical nuances and certain triggers, etc. The reason why people enjoyed that game was the spectacle and the individual quality that was on the show. And it is, though, surely what we have seen.
George saying not signing a forward in 2024 and you saying biggest driver is quality.
Yeah, but surely what we have gathered, right, over these two legs is what I've tried to say many times, and I come across as this tactico dweeb, right? But I have never been in the camp of tactics being the driver at the top level. I've never ever felt that. The driver is always quality. It's like this, right? There's so many good coaches out there who have the ideas, they have the principles, and they have the methodology in place to implement it, but their ceiling's capped with who they have. Right? In the Champions League, everyone is at the very least decent tactically, at the very least. So what is the differentiator? It is the quality. That is why Real Madrid have won Champions Leagues time and time again. And that's why, for me, I don't sit here thinking, we should feel sorry for ourselves, the amount of XG we generated, the chances that we missed, because we are not the first, nor will we be the last to feel this way in the Champions League. This is very common, and that's why it's exciting as well. Because, as I mentioned, the Inter Milan and Barcelona game, it's the individual quality that gets you off your seat, and that really excites fans. And that's why people, if you're neutral, everyone wanted to see a PSG Barcelona final. That's what they wanted to see. There were like an Inter Milan Arsenal final for the neutral would be like absolute carnage. And that's what it is, right? It is the quality that has been the differentiator over the two legs. Now, that, for me, can only be addressed in the market, right? And I don't know about you, right? But I do not want us to go into the market with this mentality and this idea of, oh, we need X or Y or Z to implement a specific pattern, tactical detail that allows us to do something in game. Yes, it might help us, but I promise you we can live without it because already we were a tactically very strong side. What we can't live without is quality in the front line. That is what is stopping us. And until we address that, if we don't address that, it will become Groundhog Day. That is what it will be, and that's what we need to do in the market. We need to look at this. I do think I put a list out on X of a list of different aspects that we can improve on that I think are issues under Mikel, but a lot of that can also be mitigated by actually addressing things in the market. And that's where I stand. It's like you can have a data mindset. A data mindset is very, very big and it's very relevant over a large sample size. What's a large sample size? It's the Premier League. Usually in the Premier League, over 38 games in a season, the team that tops the big metrics is either the champions or at the very least very, very, very close. But in knockout football, data is not going to be the driver as to defining what happens because it's isolated games. It's not points over 38 games in which it's consistency. It's a bit of luck, quality, being in the right moment at the right place, the right time. That's what is the driver. And you know what? I know I'm going on a bit of a rant here, but teams that have won the Champions League in the past have had to go through a few they've had to face adversity a lot and they've not been able to overcome it in a specific season. Then they go a little bit further ahead in the following season and they then fall short. They go again, they fall short. Inter Milan, they've been in the final before, they've lost. PSG have never won the Champions League. They've been in semi-finals, they've been in the final, they've lost. So it does take a bit of time as well. So yeah, that's my rant. But
yep. Just on that last point, Mikel actually said it in his post-match about Marquinhos. He's tried to win it 11 times.
Yeah.
It takes a while. And to be totally honest, I can't remember. I remember if I said this to you offline, but I said to a few people offline, I didn't think we'd win it. Not because I didn't think we had the ability. That's a different question. But it's more just I do believe in that thing of you have to get to a final and lose it before you win something. I think that's true of pretty much every team that's ever won the Champions League. They've had to lose it before they win it. Firstly, always. I just want to add some context and sort of going off what you were saying there to the quality thing and go back quickly to that quote about Mikel saying we were the better side. And I want to show this, and please listen to the end of this thought before you get on my back. And then you can get on my back. This is the both legs combined. If you were trying to design a way to judge who was a better side, if you said, okay, who was the better team? If you asked me who's the better team between, I don't know, Liverpool and Forest in that game over there, I'd go, and I didn't watch the game, I'd go, I guess I just have to look at the numbers pretty much. And from a numbers perspective, as you were kind of alluding to, you could make an argument Arsenal were the better team over two legs. We had more expected goals, we had more shots, we had more open play shots, we had more possession, we had more passes, we had more field tilt, we had more final third entries, we had more deep touches, we had more zone 14 touches, we had more progressive passes, dribbles. We, in terms of we were pretty much always ahead of them in terms of chance creation. I think we had better in terms of more chances in the 6-yard box. You could go through and make a pretty good argument from a data perspective. This is what Mikel means when he says we're better. This is what I think he's looking at, basically. He's saying, well, look, that says we're better. And I think one of the big problems, which is kind of what you're referring to at Arsenal at the minute, is that is how we judge ourselves. I think how the coach and the coaching staff judge themselves. Can you win from this methodology? I think you can with an adjustment that I'll come to in a second, because I don't want to go the other way and forget about all this stuff and whatever. But I think just focusing on this and basically Mikel saying we were the better team because this is what happened. And I think it's not unfair to say to Mikel, yeah, you've got a decent argument there to say you were the better team. But the most important things is all the stuff you mentioned, is all the stuff about quality. It's all the moment stuff. It's the momentum. It's the getting you off your seat. Like in the Champions League, especially, that's what it is, and that's what's more important. And for Mikel, I think Mikel does know that, and I think he will adjust that. But I think that's my understanding of Mikel's response to this. I think that this is what he's referring to. But as you say, this matters so much less in the Champions League.
In knockout football.
It just doesn't matter. Yeah. And this is my frustration, is that he's saying we were the better team. And also he was saying we're the better team over 160 minutes, but ultimately it doesn't matter because in the boxes. So he does know that. But I think his messaging in general just leans a little bit too far into this. And I think it's adjustable. I do, but that's what I think he's referring to.
The way I see it is, I've mentioned, Mikel is extremely data driven. If you go and look at his post-match press conferences, you will see the way that he talks about it is very much in line with the data. It feels like he's got that data available with him immediately afterwards to look at, to glance over, and then paint the picture of the story. And he doesn't always necessarily do it when we lose games, and he tries to fight that argument. He does it when we win games as well. When we beat Palace 5-1 away from home early in the season back in December, Palace generated some really, really big opportunities. And he came out and he said, this was a game of us being very clinical. It was one of our most clinical games of the season, and we got away with it with some of the chances that Palace had. So it's not a case of he's just looking to spin it in favour of Arsenal. He's painting that picture of what the game is to him, irrespective of what Arsenal are doing. As that is an example. I do believe that mindset is so valid for the Premier League. If Arsenal top the metrics in the Premier League, they will always be very, very close to a title. But it doesn't paint the story in knockout football. That's what makes knockout football so exciting. That's why people love watching the Euros. They love watching the World Cup, because it's that individual quality. Imagine if football was based solely on tactical nuances. It would be boring. It absolutely would be boring. Nobody cares about you step here to press him and then allows you to win it there, and then you pass that ball there, etc. We talk about it a lot. I talk about it a lot, but that's not what makes football exciting. What makes football exciting is when you've got players like Lamine Yamal and Rafinha smacking it from 30, 40 yards out, and some of the goals we saw in that game. So
I agree, and I think that kind of probability ball is sort of what we refer to it. Maybe it's like, well, if we keep doing the right things, if we keep doing the long throws, eventually it's gonna that probability ball makes sense to me, as long as there is some freedom within it to break free out of that. And I don't believe we have that at the moment. And secondly, I also don't think it suits European football. And for example, you could look at this. So PSG's goal in the semi-final against Arsenal, Dembele scored from a 0.07 XG chance. Fabian Ruiz scored from a 0.04 XG chance. Hakimi scored from a 0.07 XG chance. Now, you could take this game in isolation and go, see, we actually did everything right. We just had the bad rub of the green. Okay. But we've also had the bad rub of the green in the Newcastle ties. We've also had the bad rub of the green. Think how many mad goals we've conceded this season. Does that not tell you, if that same thing keeps repeating, that tells you that there is an issue. And the issue, I think, is the stuff that you can't see in the data charts and all those sorts of things. It is ultimately players being willing to take shots on. It's momentum, it's tempo, all these things that aren't available in, frankly, publicly available stats and stuff that people form things around. I want to stress, I think Mikel's philosophy of kind of, as I say, probability ball and all that sort of stuff favors the league. And I don't think it can't ever translate to tournament football. And I don't think it's necessarily terrible and we need to rip it up or whatever. It's just within it needs the flexibility to move to different types of football and play different types of football. We need to be able to go from one game where we are just field tilt FC and go to another game where we're transition FC and moments FC. That's really what we need to be. And we haven't got that second thing.
I mean, if you look at the PSG game, right? Let's do it like this. If we play that game, let's try and paint the story between the league and the knockout competitions. We play that game against PSG 38 times. We will win the Premier League, most likely. We'll win it. But you don't play them 38 times. You play them once where there's jeopardy on the line. That's what it is. When there's jeopardy on the line, it's where data becomes obsolete. That's how it becomes obsolete. And I do think he recognized it, because he mentions the boxes so many times. So this is why I'm thinking to myself, I'm sitting here and thinking, Mikel's extremely data driven. He's very much of the idea, we do this, it's going to give us success. And I buy it. But then I'm thinking to myself, is he naive? But then I'm thinking, no, he's not naive because he constantly says it's between the boxes, and he's alluding to that individual quality.
Yeah, and he asked for it in January, and it's, you know, like I look, it's incredibly frustrating, and I am annoyed at the way this is played out. I'm also annoyed at how long it's taken to get to this point where we're like, basically everyone knows the same thing. Like everyone knows what the answer is here. And I think it would be naive for us as fans. I think the coaching staff aren't also aware of it. It's frustrating it's taken this long. It's frustrating we're going to have to wait another year. I'm annoyed about certain things. There's also other things even within the game model and the structure that I have an issue with. But that's true of a lot of managers. In fact, every manager.
Every manager.
I do strongly, fundamentally believe that he knows this. I do. He may come out in a post-match presser and go, you know, actually we were the better team, to be honest, because that's the way he thinks. But I think he knows really what the driver is, and that is what Rohan keeps referring to. Let me come to these super chats. Thank you all for your super chats. You're killing them with the super chats this evening. Thank you so much. Benji says, recently learned that my new girlfriend's family are Spurs fans. How do I let her know when we work out? Do you know what annoys me, Benji, and you can say this to your new girlfriend's family, is they're going to look you in the eye if they win a Europa League and say to you that beating Ferencvaros and Bodo Glimt, or whatever they're called, in the Europa League and coming 22nd, whatever they are in the Premier League, is a better season than Arsenal because we didn't win a trophy. They're going to look you in the eye and say that. And at that point, you take your girlfriend, you say, thank you very much, I'm moving out.
It's time to go.
It's time to go. How does he tell her, Rohan?
Yeah, I think it's got to be it's a sticky one, isn't it? Unless it's true love. It's a sticky one.
It's going to be tough, mate.
It is. I actually think it's quite difficult. I think it'd be very difficult to do. It depends on how much football means to you as well, doesn't it? If you're just like casual, like, like people say, you know, who do you support? Yeah, I support Man U or whatever, like, but I don't really watch it. It doesn't matter, does it? But if you're like us, we're invested. We're watching games 3-4 times on repeat.
Chat saying, leave her if you're a man.
We're not going to go there.
Harsh. Oogie Boogie says, I love you guys. We love you too. If you're here, there's over 400 people here for therapy. If you're here live after that performance last night, we love you. Thank you for being part of the Cannon podcast.
What time did you go to bed yesterday? Be honest. Like, did you go
3 a.m.
3 a.m. What were you doing?
More than you would have. Someone said today, so I posted a video on TDK. The top comment is, bro, watched the game and aged 10 years.
All right, be honest, right? How sad were you when Fabio Ruiz scored that goal after the chances we missed? I felt like I was going to cry. Genuinely thought. Oh.
I didn't say a word. I genuinely, you can ask my housemate. I didn't say a word from the Ruiz goal till I asked why Waneri wasn't coming on.
Yeah, actually,
I was what was it, 20 something minutes in? Didn't say a word. Halftime, didn't say a word. Got to like the 80 something minute and went, why isn't Waneri coming on?
No, this is what I do apparently, right? And my family been saying it to me. Like when Arsenal concede, it's very different, right? I'll lose my head when it's like a misplaced pass or like something really trivial. But when it's a goal conceded, what I usually do, I just stare at it, I start smiling, start sipping my water, and then just like
give it one of these.
Yeah, it's just like it's like.
Do you know what's frustrating as well? Another issue with the way we're constructed, because of the way we approach the game, which we've just gone into. I just never believe that we're gonna do something, and the players must know that. The players must feel we never come from behind. We never do that. They must feel that.
I mean, deep down, right? I didn't think we were going to win this. I didn't think we were. But, you know, like, but in the moment before match, I was like, yeah, we're going to do this. I feel something. I feel it. Like, there's, like, I'm thinking of so many different scenarios. Like, oh, this season's been absolute pony. We're going to get something. We're going to get something out of it. Like, all it takes is, like, you know, a set piece goal there in the second minute, and we're there. And then, like, you never know, a bit of a ricochet there. Deep down, I know. But
you don't get ricochets if you don't shoot.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like the Fabian Ruiz goal comes from a deflection because he has a shot.
Yeah.
It's so annoying. Just take more risks. but it wasn't in the optimum place on the XG charts, so we can't have a shot.
You know what's quite interesting as well, those long throws, and they actually pose a significant threat, right?
I know we've got 3 seconds left, but I've done my research, and I've decided that a long throw at this point, rather than putting Raya up there, actually, I've calculated that when you put the goalkeeper in the box, you actually decrease your chances of winning by 2%. So I won't be doing it.
It's interesting, right? A lot of the people, who live and breathe the data within football, I saw a few tweets out, and they were like, I'm quite shocked that a lot of teams aren't deploying more long throws because the chances that you can generate from them are extremely high. And this is where it comes from, doesn't it? It's like, it comes back to Mikel and being very data-driven. Obviously, you saw it, and it worked in a lot of moments yesterday with those throws. But it all comes back to the mindset of, the data and like, this is what it's suggesting. If PSG are going to be struggling with the physicality, they're not going to be able to get a clean contact. That's where you're going to be able to fire it from outside the box with the Erdegaard. It's all this thing, isn't it? It's like,
I'm sure they've done their research, but when there's 20 seconds to go and you're slowing the game down because you're losing momentum because you want to get a long throw and you're bringing Partey 40 yards to come and do a throw in.
Yeah.
Like, I get it in the game. But at this point, just get the ball back in play and get the ball in the box. But it's not in the game. It's not on page 6 of the game model, so I can't do it. Runak says hurts more than a damn breakup. It was really, it was really, really painful. And then I had to do an hour and a half.
What?
Yeah, we did
hour and a half. What were you two talking about?
An hour and a half.
That's a main pod.
It was mainly George saying, signing a forward in the year 2024.
he's cooking with that, to be fair. Oh my God. We actually signed no one in January. We signed nobody. Let that sink in. We signed nobody. Man City spent 200 million in the January window.
Alejandro says, let's make our wish list of summer signings. Chat
200 million.
right now. Let's just come out of the. You're in dreamland. Let's go. Alexander Isak.
I'll be looking forward to that 20 quid that we betted on here.
Yeah, but it was if Newcastle don't get Champions League. So
was that the bet? Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's defunct. Alexander Isak and Benjamin Sesko. And Nico Williams. And Victor Gyökeres.
And Bradley Barcola.
And Bradley Barcola.
I swear to God, if we sign someone who allows us to do a specific tactical detail that allows us to improve something.
If we do another Calafiori, I
will lose my head. I'll lose it. I can't.
Do you know what's funny as well? Is like obviously we're younger fans, so like we have a bit more patience for this stuff. But it must be funny being like a dude who's like seen it since like George Graham and just watching a summer like Mourinho and Calafiori, and you're just like, this is just not going to work.
That's where it comes though. It's interesting, isn't it? I'd love to do like a study on like 1,000 Arsenal fans, like ranging from different ages, and like their views on Mikel, their views on the project. How much time do you have left? I just think of it to be dominated by the younger fans who would have more time, and the older 100%. The older fans will be like, nah.
Seen it all before. The bold and the manager. Do you know what we haven't done before we come back to the super chats? Thumbnail check.
Oh yeah.
Personally, it's simple in some ways, but that's one of my favorites. I absolutely love that. We've got.
Is that George's hair?
Ironically, George is Erdegaard.
Oh,
We've got you as Big Willie. You look quite handsome. I think
that doesn't look weird. That looks a bit weird, doesn't it?
I think you should do your hair like that.
I mean, it's not that
got
far.
Me as I think that's Rice. I would guess that's Rice.
Yeah,
in terms of the height. With my hair looking 10 years older, apparently. Do you think I look old today? Do you think I look old because of my beard?
No, you've had a fade as well today, haven't you?
Yeah, I've got a little burst fade.
Burst fade. No, you don't look odd. It's probably the beard. Your beard is thicker.
It is thicker these days. And then obviously Bakaya. I really like that. I don't. So I don't know where the hidden Rohan is. And Forder actually told me it was in my hair, but I can't see it.
Oh, there it is. Is it?
Where?
No. Sorry.
I can't see it. What are we giving that, chat? What are we saying?
I'm sorry, I can't.
You look handsome. Thank you, Shikar. Very kind. If anyone wants to pay me sort of more personal, kind compliments, that you could do that if you like.
I feel very uncomfortable giving it a rating because I feel sad today.
I'll just give it a rating.
7.
I'm giving that an 8.5. I really like that. Beans on Toast says I look clapped.
I love Beans on Toast. I feel like we coined the name for Beans on Toast for this.
We did not coin the phrase beans on
toast.
toast.
No, not in general, but for this user. I feel like this user didn't have Beans on Toast before we mentioned it on this. I'm pretty sure. We had like a decent 10 minutes talking about Beans on Toast once, I think.
Complete delusion.
I hate football sometimes. I hate it so much.
This is like when George. I feel like George claimed something like this recently.
No, I'm not saying I coined I'm not saying I coined Beans on Toast as a.
But you mean for beans? I think it's beans on toast. No, beans in toast.
Beans.
So, beans and toast. You let us know if Rohan was the inspiration or we were the inspiration.
Yeah, please do. I feel like I'm cooking with this.
There was another thumbnail.
Thoughts on Beans on Toast in general?
Don't like it.
Nah, it's a bit boring, isn't it?
Don't like it. There was another thumbnail. Let me show you. Which I respected. Simply this. I quite like that.
It's very. It's not going to lift our moods, though, is it?
No, but it's because it's French as well.
Oh, you're in your French.
Oh, from a female perspective, Rohan with Saliba hair is. Come on, mate.
But it's kind of like that, isn't it?
I think you'd look good with the Saliba trim.
Do I not look good without it?
No, you look. Oh God!
Just joking.
Jesus Christ!
I
think you look good.
No, I do not.
You do with a little. Get your little chin strap. Get your eyebrows waxed.
A goatee.
I think you look good. People, what do you reckon? I think you look good. Chat saying, get the buzz cut.
I did have a buzz cut back in the day. Shall I show you what it looked like back in the day?
Yeah, go on.
All right, I'll show you.
I think I fancy you a little bit like that. Look at you there.
Let me get my Instagram up.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
People saying 1,000 out of 10. Fit. He can pull it off.
Can you see
Got to try it. Hang on. Let me. Oh.
see. There you go. Oh
wait. Why can't you put it? It can't quite focus. But yeah, you.
Oh, you could probably get it up on your phone then, maybe.
Wait, can you send it to me?
It's on my Instagram. Yeah, I'll just send it to you.
Can you put it on WhatsApp? But then we'll finally see your hairline.
Right. Can I actually send that to you?
What? I presume so, yeah.
Okay, I've sent it to you. Oh,
no, you've sent me your Instagram link. Send me the picture. What are you doing?
Right. Oh, but then if I screenshot it, the quality is going to be worse.
Send me a link to your Instagram. Just screenshot it.
Okay, fine.
I'm putting my frustration on Arsenal on you.
Right. Let me crop it first. Sorry. Gotta get the.
Oh my God.
Gotta get the scenery there. That scenery is banging. Oh yeah, that's good.
Right. Have you sent it?
Yes, I have. That is Saliba hair. Look at it. I just had a very simple haircut back in the day.
That's not the Saliba trim. Right, let me show you.
It kind of is.
It isn't.
It's a little bit. Come on. Little bit.
I mean, bloody hell, I can't tell you apart. You could tell me that's Saliba. That's William Saliba. No, come on. No, come on. You've had a little glow up, to be fair, I will say.
Thank you.
That is, how could you say that's the same treat? You need it shorter, like the full, like.
It's quite similar, no? Am I going?
It's chat. What are we saying? That is not a similar haircut to William Saliba. Well, it's not a million miles away. It's closer than mine, but that's it's. You should go full.
That's actually the Theo Walcott haircut. Yeah.
Yeah, true. Right, let's come back to super chats. Stop talking about rounds here. Emirates Era says, at the gym right now, guys, for me, he's got one more year.
Let's talk about this. Let's talk about it.
Go on then.
Go on. I'll let you go first.
For me, I'm frustrated with aspects of what Mikel could have controlled better this season, which I think is things like tempo in possession have been off all season. I think things like having a plan B, obviously the transition stuff, which we've spoken about a million times. I think our approach to games has been fine, but I just don't think we've found the variety of chance creation that we need. And obviously, there's the moments, whatever. But you just can't divorce that from the injuries and the stuff we've had to face. Like, it's all interwoven. And ultimately, I want to give him the time to fix it with talent. Like, I want to see him. Like, okay, let's put it this way: do you have an issue we've spoken about many times of turning high turnovers into shots? I want to give you a window where you get to sign players and you get to go and do that. You have an issue, in my opinion, with defensive lapses from certain people. What do you do after a window? You have an issue, in my opinion, with defending set pieces. What do you do after a window? With Kai Havertz back in the team, who's off. Do you know what I mean? Like, I and because you've proven to me before that you can fix problems, I'm willing to give you the time to do it. After the window, if we've got the same issues, we will be having a conversation for sure.
Absolutely. But a lot of it depends on the recruitment. Like, if we do not bring in the required players that fits the mold, that allows us to rectify some of the issues we have, then it'll be Groundhog Day. And then we can talk about the manager as much as we want, but then we have to look at the overarching issue here. Now, let's look at it like this. Do we believe Arsenal tactically are very strong with Mikel Arteta? I absolutely believe we do. Absolutely. Hands up.
Yeah.
I'll fight anyone. For
Sorry
that.
to cut you off. Even though we not hate it, even though we are frustrated by it, the numbers show that. Like, and you can see that with your eyes. You look at the first 20 minutes against PSG. We're an unbelievable we're unbelievably set up tactically.
We are unbelievably set up tactically. We have our flaws. We have our flaws against physical mid blocks. We have our flaws in situations where we relinquish a lead or we go a goal down. We have our flaws during adversity in general. There are certain games in which he doesn't use players in the way that I would like personally, i.e. Ethan Nwaneri using him in the same way as Bukayo Saka, even though they're stylistically very different players. You can still have him at right wing, absolutely fine, but you need to switch it up. The way that we used Jurien Timber yesterday would have been perfect for Ethan Nwaneri on the right wing. Absolutely perfect. Declan Rice between different games. I don't want him pinning the last line, pinning centre-backs, making runs constantly, not getting on the ball enough against teams that are deploying a lower block. I don't like that. That doesn't make sense to me. So there are these issues, but then we have to sit back and look. We don't analyse every single team under a microscope. We do it for Arsenal because we're Arsenal fans. Every team, I can tell you now, has issues. We have ours. But I know tactically this team is set up very well. And the biggest driver is the quality. And for me, right, if that is the biggest driver, then I have to look at that being what needs to fix, not the manager in general, right? Now, if Arsenal were coming out of games consistently, getting tactically outdone, that is an issue for me. That's a big issue, because then it's a case of like, well, this is not just down to quality. This is down to something that is a lot bigger than just recruitment. And that's where I stand on it. And I don't like this idea personally, I feel like it is starting to become a crossroads now with the Arteta project, because it's the level of patience that you as an individual have and how desperate you are to win. I'm so desperate to win. I was gutted yesterday, but I'm someone who's like, I don't want to lose something that I feel is so special, and I've got a lot of evidence behind me that I can look at to showcase that. And that's where I stand on it. And I don't like this idea of, well, next season, nothing matters, no context matters whatsoever. If we don't do this, he has to go. I can't do that. I can't sit there and think that way. It's just
we have to apply context. Like I think about it like this: like if you have a house and you're trying to build the most perfect house in the most perfect location, whether it's in the Italian mountains or whatever. Imagine your perfect home. If you were living there and there were fires in one room, you'd put them out before you'd say, I think we should move. You know what I mean? Or, I think we should, like if you think about like constructing something, before you go, maybe the floorboards are a little bit creaky, and maybe there's like, you would lay out the room slightly differently, and that's all Mikel's stuff. But we have fires in certain rooms. So if we put them out and then, fix the floorboards or whatever it might be, we're always going to have issues with Mikel. There's always going to be game model stuff, and there's always going to be flaws in his game model, because every coach has that. Every house has its flaws. But before you move, put out the fire and decide whether you want to live there anymore. You can't have a fire on and like the walls caving in and going, no, I think this is the landlord's fault. Get someone round, fix those things. And then you might say, I still don't like the layout of this house, or I still don't, maybe I just really don't like the location. And we can't change those things. And fair enough. And then you could move.
Yeah.
But like, just fix the things you don't like first. And if he has that time, if we fix all the things, we make the house as best it can be, we might still not like the location. We might still not like the layout. We might still not like the foundations. Okay, we can move on. But for me, he just needs the time.
He needs the time, mate. And I also think, he's learning on the job. And then there is this argument, and that at a different club, at other big clubs, he wouldn't get this time. And I totally hear that. But that's part and parcel of the beauty of this project for me. Like, that we've been able to give him the time, and we've had that patience. Just because he may not have got the time elsewhere doesn't mean we had to cut ties earlier. That doesn't make sense to me. And for me, like, I think there are a lot of issues that we have that he needs to look at as well. I mean, like this season, one of the things I think we need to improve on is squad rotation when healthy. Now, it's been difficult to assess that this year, but last season, season before, that's not been one of Mikel's strong points. He's relied upon continuity, which allows us to have such good levels of sustained consistency in the league that we've seen. But the moment certain players drop out, we then start to struggle. Now, actually, I thought it was quite interesting, because when Saka went down, and I would say up until the Kai Havertz injury, if you look at our league form, there were some blips and there were some turbulent moments, but our league form was pretty solid. I said that we wouldn't win the league once Saka went down. What I wanted to see is how we react to adversity and respond with our best player going down. And we had some really good performances. We had some blips, like you alluded to, Aston Villa, for example. But go and look at our league form; it was actually pretty solid. What let us down was in the cups, which is the knockout, which is the knockout theme that we spoke about already. So, but then I think one of the big issues people have right now, and what leaves a real sour taste, is the mindset that we've deployed in the league over the past few weeks, and some of the lack of commitment and an actual fight. Like the Palace game exemplifies that, and that's where it doesn't sit well with people, because it's like you're throwing everything to the Champions League, rightly so, I hear that, but at the same time, it doesn't warrant some of the things we have seen in the league, and these are things that he needs to juggle, especially when we're looking at Arsenal competing on all fronts. He needs to be able to navigate through different competitions better. That is something that he is weak at.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think there's also, maybe this isn't the day for it, morning PSG, but there is a conversation about like how Arteta manages it, and if he should prioritize at this point in the football calendar, when players are playing so much football at such an intense level. It's a high risk strategy, and there's benefits and drawbacks both sides. But like something like the Carabao Cup, I would understand someone like a Slot or a Guardiola or an Arteta or someone like that saying, look, me winning a Carabao Cup isn't going to make anyone happy. So I'm literally just going to throw that competition. like I am. And like if something, I'm not even talking about Arsenal, with the intensity, with the injuries that players are getting, with the hamstring problems we're having. Like if you're looking at football as a general thing, if we want to be in the Club World Cup or something has to give. So if someone just went, look, we don't believe it's possible at the moment in the current football landscape to manage all 4 competitions. Again, I'm not talking about Arteta. In general, I would understand it. But yeah, that's a whole different conversation, because I don't know if it is sustainable for any team to compete across all 4 competitions at this point. Even Man City, when you consider the money's put in there. LT says sad but hopeful. Also, the girls can get the UEFA Champions League. Absolutely, the Women's Champions League final is on the 24th of May, and we will be there.
Yeah.
We will be there. Kuda Munoz says, feels like we are always in limbo. We get close, but it's not enough to get us over the line. My worry is if we still have the same issues after changes. And I think this is basically my position. And people, and maybe you feel this as well, I don't know, I don't want to speak for you. I want people to hold me to account. People know my position now on Arteta. If we have the same problems, by which we mean all the stuff we've said, high turnovers of shots, lack of explosivity, pace, all that, I can write them out for you again if you want, but I've said them a billion times. If we have those same issues, then let's talk about the manager.
Yeah.
Please. And I will want him gone.
It's the thing. It's like
I want him gone because I won't believe he can take us to the next level. But when I've watched someone change and adapt multiple times and get us to this point, I want to give him the chance a year, 6 months after I would have wanted to happen to change and make that final evolution.
Absolutely. And for me personally, I don't care about being wrong. I've came on here many times. I've said I've been wrong on this. If I'm wrong on Mikel needing more time, I will happily say so. I'm sorry.
You sounded like me.
But honestly, I just can't. I can't follow the narrative that is being portrayed so far online. And I get it. It is frustrating because it's like, it's another season we haven't won anything, but I can't throw something away that I feel that still has so much more growth and so much legs to go. I think this season will be a massive learning curve for him as well, because I think initially he's always wanted to work with a smaller squad, but I think he's seen the impact and the issues with working with a small squad this season, and hopefully now once we start to add more depth, add more quality, he's able to navigate through the squad, because that's not easy. Being able to build a squad, you want so much depth, you want so much quality. But I'm sorry, it's not easy to keep everyone happy with that sort of squad as well. So it's very difficult to juggle. I feel like he liked the idea of a small squad because it's just so much easier to manage. It's so much easier to keep people content as well. And that's why he loves versatility as well. Because if he's able to get a lot of versatile players across the entire squad, if someone falls over, okay, but he can come in and he can play in this role. That's why Kai Havertz was a massive, massive miss, his injury, because of the number of roles that he could do. Albeit he's had some really poor moments this season, but because of the number of responsibilities that he can take and the number of roles that he can perform, it allowed us to mitigate it of some sort. And that's why we're getting through that Saka injury as well at that time. It's a lot of learning to do.
This is an entire outfield 11 of Arsenal players to miss 7 or more games this season. If you can look at that and tell me that Mikel's had his chance, I think that's really unfair. I really do. Like this season, in isolation, I really think that's unfair. I just, and also to be fair, again, nothing is in isolation. He has to, what you're saying about rotation, he has to work out how to get through a season without that happening. But back end of 23-24, mate, we had the entire squad available. April 23-24, we had the entire squad available. And this season we've had these issues. And again, it's another thing. I don't want excuses. I want to fix this, but I also want to give them the opportunity to fix this. And whether that's getting rid of injury-prone players or managing them differently or getting surgeries done in the summer, whatever it is, I don't know. If we're in this same situation again next year, I'll be looking and saying, okay, but this is 2 years in a row. That we can't just blame luck.
Yeah.
But I want to give him the opportunity to show me how he fixes this, because that's another thing holding him back as well.
Yeah, it's for me, it's the case of if he can continue to improve, he can continue to rectify the mistakes that he's made previously, which he has done, then I am very happy to give him time. It's only a case of when Mikel Arteta does not continue to evolve and he continues to make the same errors. That is where it's a pattern. When a pattern emerges, then you have to look at it more. I don't look at his position, and I don't like to put this idea of me being here and saying, okay, he's got one more year, that's it. If we get 93 points next season in the Premier League, but we lose out on a single point, and we do well in the cups, but we aren't just able to get there, he needs to go. I can't sit. No. I can't do it.
You have to look at context. You have to look at context. FM7, Finn, I feel so bad for the boys. They gave everything. I think, and actually, this is a good point. It's something we haven't necessarily mentioned. It's been so disappointing. The one thing I did see against PSG, and maybe why it's so frustrating because it's the same issues again, this team cares, man. And this is another thing about Mikel. They are bought in. They will run through brick walls for this guy. And that you don't underestimate that. That's not the case at Spurs. That's not the case at United. I would argue if Liverpool players were asked to do the same running, this is a separate thing, because they're better than us at many other things. But if they were asked to do the same running, I don't know if they would for slot. I don't know. That's a genuine question because we haven't seen it. I look around and I go, are there as many bought-in, young, hungry squads as us around Europe? Not particularly. And I believe genuinely Declan Rice, Bukayo Saka, Miles, those types of guys would die for this club. And let's not forget that. That's not a given for me.
Yeah. Do you know what's okay? When I forget about the fact that we've now gone home, we're out of the competition. I went into that game thinking, right, just do not go out with a whimper. I don't want this feeling of after the game thinking, oh, we could have still done more. I thought we gave absolutely everything in that second leg. And what was really good to see for me is that first 20 minutes we mentioned before. The occasion didn't get to this team. They played their game. They played their football. And we created the moments, created the chances. We didn't take them. And that's what happened, and that was the ultimate killer for us. It wasn't down to the players struggling with the environment and the atmosphere. It was simply a fantastic goal that was a sucker punch, but we still kept going after that. We still kept going, and ultimately it wasn't enough. That's it. That can happen in football. It's frustrating, it's gutting, but you can live with that. What I can't live with is games like West Ham at home. Yeah. Games like Newcastle away from home early in the season in the Premier League. Games like Crystal Palace. Those games you can't stomach because you feel they haven't done enough. PSG, though, in that sense, I can't fault them. We could criticize Saka missing an open goal. We could criticize Martinelli missing the chance there. We could criticize Declan Rice missing the sitter as well in the second minute. We can do that. But it's ultimately not something of a lack of commitment and fight. It's just something not going your way.
I agree. Eric Haith says, I have returned. This is therapy, man. I need it. Regarding Arteta, he's a phenomenal coach. He is elite, bordering on world-class, and deserves a major trophy to his name, hopefully next season. I think this is another aspect to the Arteta discussion is, who's out there? I don't see a plethora of loads of names that I look at and go, you're better for this team than Arteta. Like, and I'm not saying there aren't. And also you have to consider that people might step up. The Thomas Franks of the world, I think, would translate well to Arsenal, etc., etc. But I think there's not 15 other coaches that I look at and go, well, you be great and you be great, you be great. We're talking about a guy who's got to a Champions League semi-final, who's put up 2.5 title races in a row. Yeah, 2.5 maybe till January. Like, that fair enough. He's not got us over the line. No one's saying he has because it's inaccurate. But we're also not staring at loads of other coaches who are doing the same stuff in Europe. For me, so
this is the thing, right? So right now, when we're thinking about replacing Mikel Arteta, okay, and so it's this idea that this squad has so much quality there, and all it needs is a different direction. But what you're assuming there is that the manager coming in is able to maintain the same tactical baseline of this current side, and then it's just a bit of innovation in the final third that is missing. That's a lot to ask for someone coming in, and you having this expectancy that they're going to do it. I don't think we realize that. I think there's this idea that this team tactically is very well drilled, that it doesn't need Mikel to coach it.
Yeah.
It's like he goes, that's still going to stay the same. It's just a bit more quality that we need. he goes, a lot of these adjustments that we make in game, these details will also go with him. They will also go. And also, a lot of players will leave as well if Mikel goes. I can guarantee you that.
100%. 100%. And Saka said it himself recently. He wants to play. And someone said, who would you want to play under? And he said, I want to play under Mikel. Like, also, I'm telling you, Mikel Arteta at Real Madrid, let's say he left this summer and he went to Real Madrid when Ancelotti leaves, I would be terrified of that. Mikel Arteta, defensive fundamentals with Kylian Mbappe, Vinny Jr. and Rodrigo. Are you joking? So let's get as close to that as we can at our club, please. Yeah, that would be frightening. Tyler Blake, Berta signs Anthony and no one else. Do we riot?
Project Finito.
But Anthony, this is the thing, Anthony. I'm not saying.
Oh no,
I'm not saying Anthony.
No.
But he's an example. Again, I haven't. Do you know what I haven't received enough, Roham? Enough apologies from those of you who said about Rashford.
He's been okay.
Who are mocking? No. And I wasn't. What? So you're telling me Rashford on loan wouldn't have helped us in January?
Yeah, he probably would have helped us. Yeah, for sure.
There we go. So those of you who said that Rashford would derail our project, that he'd be a rubbish signing, that he wouldn't help us, I want an apology now.
Look at that aggression.
And I will wait. Being serious.
Yeah.
Environment. I'll say it a million times, and it's another example of environment being king. There is top level talent, the De Bruynes and the Bruno Fernandezes of the world, but there are also so many players who, when you've seen them do that, go, okay, well, what's the environment there that's got them to do that? And it's usually love and putting them in the right position.
So what you're saying is Anthony's better than Saka.
So what I'm saying is sign Anthony.
Can't believe he missed that, yesterday. Oh my god. That's a bad miss.
O'Malley, Inter are the opposite of us. Burn the stats, win. I tell you what, I wouldn't have liked to face Inter in the final.
Yeah, well, I'd rather be.
And luckily, you won't have to. I'm a Liverpool fan, and I just won the Premier League, but I'm having more fun having a go at Arsenal fans on Twitter.
They're actually really weird. Like, even yesterday, they're just in my mentions. Like, why are you here? Go to bed. Like, go to sleep.
It really is. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah. What's his name? I think it was KFC Licky. What it was.
But I don't think it is the other way around. Like everything you do online, Liverpool fans find it.
Well, I don't know. Maybe we probably would. Oh no, I wouldn't, and you wouldn't.
But I don't like.
I feel like there would always be some Arsenal fans who would.
No, there'll be some, but it's a universal experience for everyone online.
Yeah,
is that Liverpool fans will find it.
Yeah.
It's really odd.
Yeah,
guys, you just won the Premier League. Go enjoy it. Sam Rattlehead. I feel like everyone ignores the fact we were losing for 119 minutes. I can't argue we were the better team if we were always chasing the result. And this is kind of what we were talking to earlier, right? Like, it depends what your metrics are for being better. And my point is, Mikel's metrics for being better are field tilt, final third entries, box crashes. Like, that's his metrics. Our metrics are scoreline and moments.
Yeah. And also what it is, right? I said it at the start, right? So from a metric point of view, we did enough to win the game. But I'm not sitting here saying we should have gone to the final, because knockout football is a different mindset. We don't deserve to go to that final because we didn't take our chances. That is your DAR analysis, but that is exactly how the knockout competition lies.
What, sorry?
Yurda.
Honestly, that's some freaking Yurda.
You know when someone goes to you have your standard chat with a casual football chat where you talk about a game. It's like a knockout game. You lose and you're like, oh, we created so many chances. And he responds to you, yeah, but you lost. It's like, yeah. That is all that matters in knockout football. Literally. Genuinely, it's all that matters. Sorry, I know it's harsh. And I was so looking forward to, had we have gone through yesterday, the things that we did yesterday, right? Some of the details, right? Some of the nuances. I would have been bringing all of it here. But it doesn't matter because we lost.
Make excuses, mate.
And that's as sad as it gets, isn't it? I'm actually so sad. I woke up this morning and I was like, oh, I would have booked my flight. My plan was, had we have gone through, I would have quickly went on Skyscanner, would have booked my flight, and we would have already been close to being ready to go to Munich.
I'd have been emailing every brand I know. Please. Please, Surfshark. Tez says sustained Premier League finishes and latter stages of the Premier League could be much worse and a lot to be grateful for. 92 clubs in England. How many would swap places with us? I reject rival fan and pundit narrative. Arsenal are failures. Yeah, I do take this argument, and I think the look, ultimately the media, as we saw with BBC earlier, and I always come back on this, like, oh, they're out to get us. No, they're out to profit. Yes. And the most profitable thing is setting Arsenal up and crashing them down, because you get clicks both ways. That's what they're after. So for me, I'm always like, don't take it personally. Just see the game. And don't get caught in Arsenal, for me anyway, as people know, don't get caught in Arsenal victims narrative. But what they're after is clicks. And it's more interesting for us to be this, team who are sort of nearly men, in the same way that the Spursy narrative. Spurs could have a 3 comeback wins in a row. No one will talk about it. They lose one game in the Spursy way in the Premier League. No one talks about it, and everyone's on it because it's their narrative. And I think the not swapping is a massive thing for me. It's a massive thing for me. I understand that you might be frustrated about Arsenal, and I'm frustrated about Arsenal completely. Would you swap with anyone right now in the Premier League other than Liverpool?
Yeah.
And even Liverpool, I'd be going, like, obviously I have the attachment to my team, so I can understand why you're doing it, but I wouldn't swap with Spurs. I wouldn't swap with United. I wouldn't swap with City because A, the project is soulless, and B, they're about to be hit with a massive points deduction. And then who else is there? Who do you want to? What, you want to be? Forest? You want to be Newcastle? No, you don't.
No, for sure not. I mean, when you go to Europe, there are some very exciting projects out there for sure. Like PSG's projects are very exciting. Like the talent that they have, and then what they could add, and the manager that they have. But you're looking at a really small minority here, and I really don't know about you. I really believe in this manager. I do. I'm so invested in it. And it's kind of like, when you feel like you're pressured into having to think a certain way because these things are happening, as we've seen this season, and thinking it was meant to be our year, and therefore, we need to cut ties now. I can't think like that. I've never been able to think like that. And till the wheels fall off, unless they literally do wheels. Yeah. Well, that's the saying, isn't it? Yeah, till the wheels fall off.
Would you be eluding in Munich?
Eluding in Munich.
Would you be on paper in Munich? Would you be 22-23 in Munich?
I've never been Munich, actually. Have you?
No, we won't be, mate. Oh, Christ. Cheeky look at Bruno Fernandes. What do you think? Payback time?
I'll tell you. No, I don't mean I wouldn't want that. Oh, actually.
De Bruyne on a free this summer, what are you saying?
What wages looking like? Oh, but he's a bit cooked, though, yeah.
On a free?
On a free? Yeah, I'll do it.
For a year?
Yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, I'll do it.
KDB on a free for a year, even if it's 400 grand a week, I'd do it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't give him longer than a year.
400 grand?
Something like that, yeah.
No, I wouldn't do that.
But how mad? He's got the Elon build.
He's got
the Valverde Elon build. What I will say on KDB, like I think a lot of it is just minutes, like the amount of repeated minutes. I don't think Kevin.
The level of running he wouldn't be able to sustain. So
yeah, but I think in terms of unlocking certain game states, what it does, it says so much about the City project, doesn't it? That he would consider it. He's probably their greatest ever player.
Do you reckon he would?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
He said himself, I'd come to the Premier League. I want to go back to the Premier League. I think I'm still. Yeah.
I thought he said he was looking. He
said himself. He doesn't think he's done at the top level.
Let's just go get some young, hungry talent.
But like, my point is, let's say we signed Isak, a DM, and a left winger. Fabio Vieira's come back in, and deadline day, Bruno's KDB is available on a free. Mate,
that'd be an incredible window.
That's what's going to happen, mate. If you believe. Pathfinder, I was really upset last night, but I realised now that we outperformed in the UCL. Imagine what we could do with the proper players up front in the next season. Exactly, Pathfinder.
And also, right,
that's the mindset we like.
Whatever I think. Okay, so let's sit back and let's go before ball was kicked this season. You're right there.
You said sit back, so I did.
Nice. Let's sit back again, and
I can't get much further back here.
I think there was a real concern of our ability in the Champions League under Mikel, and just in Europe. I think if we look at our knockout performances in his tenure, not just in the Champions League but also in the Europa League, they have flattered to deceive. Porto was a real like struggle. This year, the Champions League, our performances, our consistency, what we've been able to showcase has been exceptional. It really has. It's the first year in which we had the different format. We passed the group stage with flying colours. Bloody hell. Oh. Police, don't know if you can hear that.
That's the ball knowledge, police, mate.
And then you're looking at PSV battered them. Real Madrid, the final boss of the Champions League, what they've been able to do consistently, battered them. PSG, not going out because we weren't good enough, going out because the individual quality of PSG was superior than ours. You can stomach that, and you can look at that as thinking significant success from the
in isolation in this this Champions League campaign in isolation. You could stomach it. The problem is it links to such a wider context of this project and the way we lose games that it's very hard to do that. But you're right. In isolation, this Champions League campaign has been brilliant.
I think we definitely should do a pod like where we look really deep into our problems, and then we can, we can do a proper.
Yeah, and we should do like a real okay, here's our 6 set how many is point plan of the actual issues Sam Williams, we can't get over the line. 5 years, gotten better every year. I understand there's been teams that have won quicker, but it's consistent improvement. I think this year is the first year where that's probably arguable, but also we have improved in certain aspects. Honestly, I really do think we have improved in certain aspects, especially in the Champions League. And I think I think there's certain players who have taken big strides this season. But yeah, that we can't go over the line. It comes back to what you say about patience. Some people are happy with genuinely with just constant improvement, and eventually they feel it will come. And some people will have been calling for his head since the first trophyless year in 2021.
Preconceived biases.
Well, maybe, but it depends. Everyone's
not saying everyone. Yeah, not saying everyone's. No, that's a bit harsh. But I do think that there's always going to be people who will have that feeling. They never liked the manager. And this information right now we've had it is, and that's fair enough if that's how you see it. There's also there's going to be other people in which they're just tired, and I get that. I understand it.
Yeah, but ultimately, it depends where you are, and probably a lot of people watching our type of content. Okay, let's say I gave you a choice. You have 5 years of turgid football, really bad football. But every single year you win and you come maybe, 17th, then 6th, then 11th, then 12th, then 12th or something, right? Mm-hmm. You win in that time, every single season, you win an FA Cup, you win a Carabao Cup, you win a Europa Conference League, you win a Europa League, and you win a Carabao Cup. There will be people who would take that over 5 years of 5 title challenges in a row, one Premier League title, and maybe a decent Champions League final 1 year. There are people who would take that, and let's say in that you get great football, you get really, really good football, and you're consistently challenging, and you're there every week. You think you're going to win every single week. There's people who take the trophy thing, and I can't say you're wrong, because one way of viewing football is it's all about trophies, and that's it. And that's honestly I can't necessarily. It's not the way I view football. Because I would much prefer to go every week and watch really good football. I'd much prefer to be in the conversation. I'd much prefer to be at the top level. I'd much prefer to be attracting the best players, seeing the best players at my club, and hoping to win something, and obviously ideally winning. And people will say, well, you're unambitious. I'd rather take an FA Cup, and fine.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't enjoy Arsenal's latter years. I didn't like it. You know, I mean, we're getting battered every away game. You know, winning the FA Cups masked a lot of the things that we're doing in the league. That's not to say. Listen, we need to be in a situation where we play good football and we win these cups. That is ultimately where we need to be.
Because then you get both.
Yeah, we need both, right? But this is where it goes back to that argument of, you know, Man United and Spurs and the way that their campaign is viewed relative to Arsenal's if they win something. And I always think, like, when you have that, so where I don't understand it, but again, people view football differently. And I think it's a case of how invested you are into football as well. Now, if you would rather get an FA Cup, a Europa League or something, you win that trophy, that feeling is really good for 4 or 5 days, right? It's not going to be as that dopamine is not going to be there past that, right? So if that dopamine that you have for 4 or 5 days is worth more than the dopamine of watching your team play football over the course of entire season, not saying we have done this campaign, not saying that, then be my guy. That's fine. That's how you view football. I can't view that. I can't have an entire campaign. And again, forget about this year, but I can't have an entire campaign of feeling miserable, but then my team winning a trophy and me feeling good for a few days.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't understand that. But
and I agree. And the other aspect of it again is style, and you can't. I don't think you can say there's one better style than another, but ultimately, I don't love the way we play, but I don't hate it. We're dominant in Big Six games. We had the ball around the box. I think we could create more chances, but we do have big chances. We're like the set piece stuff. I think is quite fun. I wish we score. I wish there was difference about the way we play. But some people are like, I hate the way we play. I absolutely hate it, and that's fair enough. I don't. I like the patterns. I like watching us in build up and understanding what's happening, what the triggers are. I like when we can go along to Havertz. I like watching Saka. I like this team. There's things I'd change, but I like this team. But there might be people who say we play boring, turgid, rubbish football. I didn't like it. Okay, and while I can see some of that, again, it's subjective. Obviously the ideal is play unbelievable football that everyone loves, win every single trophy every single season, and win under this manager. But if I have to get rid of a few things, there's different things that people would take away before trophies, but it's not for me. I like winning an FA Cup, as I say, it doesn't. Yeah, or a Carabao Cup. That doesn't. I don't then go, oh, then I'll watch a year of rubbish football. Great.
Yeah,
that's just not for me.
It's that conversation of like, would you rather watch your team consistently play really eye-catching football that's fluid, that gets you off your seat, that's a spectacle, but doesn't necessarily always win, versus a team that is scraping wins and it's like really boring. It's not good to watch, but you win something at the end. I'll take the team that is giving me joy watching them. I'd always will do that, because for me, football is about entertainment, and it's about me, my team entertaining me as well. You know, and that's how I view it. So I'm not saying this season has been that. It hasn't. It's been. I've hated this season. Not gonna lie, I've hated it.
No.
But yeah, it's just a different. It's how you view it.
It's different value systems, and that's and if rubbish football on a Carabao Cup is great for you, then cool. It's just not for me. Alejandro Tibaccio, is a Watkins, Semenyo, Nico, De Kuyper, and Garcia a win now window? If not, then who? Watkins, Semenyo, Nico Williams, De Kuyper, and Garcia.
I don't know who De Kuyper is.
De Kuyper is a Bruges fullback. Very good. I think it probably would be.
Yeah. We've got to throw Zubimendi in there as well, because that seems a guarantee, doesn't it?
Yeah. I think that, if you had Watkins, Semenyo, and Nico Williams, and let's say you lost Trossard and Sterling,
Listen, I don't know about you, but I would like to look into that Ollie Watkins situation this summer.
Mate, 100%. Especially when Villa need to sell. People aren't conscious of Villa's both their FFP situation, if they don't get Champions League, and their wage situation. Big problem for them. Big problem.
I honestly think that deal could be one of the buys of the summer, when you're talking about the fee and as you alluded to, the problems Villa could have. I think they need to make a sale before the new accounting year. So
Ollie Watkins isn't 30 till the end of the year. Let's not talk about him like he's some pensioner. He'd still be 29 playing for Arsenal. I think he'd be brilliant for us in multiple different positions. Wouldn't absolutely necessarily have to start every single game. Would probably be fairly cheap. Is a proven Premier League goal scorer, although I think he's dropped off a little bit recently. But he's been in and out of the team because of Rashford. And for me, I think this idea of like, oh, but he's 29. Guys, Mikel has to win now. Mikel has to win in the next year, and the context would be mad if we allowed him to stay another year. Like, it has to happen. So...
Listen, we'll never know, but I feel very confident in saying if Ollie Watkins played in those 2 games against PSG for us over those 2 legs, we'd be going through.
I agree.
I'm adamant on that.
Dan Reshnik says, what is the biggest driver for you guys? Cheeky wink. Thanks for the super chat, Dan. What is the biggest driver, Rohan?
Oh, it's the high press, isn't it? It's not quite there yet and all that.
Quality.
Quality.
The Lonely Bean. At least I don't need to juggle GCSEs with Arsenal. Were you going to be taking GCSEs? It's exam season.
I think it was early this. Did it start this week?
It's exam season. If you're taking your exams, GCSEs and A levels, good luck. But
and look out for that Jeremy Clarkson standard tweets. Yeah.
But remember, they do not define you. No matter what you may think now, your exam results do not define you. Try your hardest, but they don't define you.
Yeah, I've got a little bit of a rant on here, right?
Go on.
With exams and stuff. Exams do not define the knowledge you have in a subject. It just doesn't. Genuinely, like I've done really well in certain exams where I didn't understand the content, but I could memorize things. Doesn't mean I know it very well. It's just that I knew a tactic of being able to get by exams and also kind of second guessing what kind of questions are going to come up. Doesn't give me the knowledge to be able to say that I'm an expert there. And also, it's like you can revise the content, you can be as prepared as possible, but the days when it comes to actually sitting the paper and the pressure of an exam, that can have an adverse effect on your ability to be the best version of yourself. And then it goes out the window of what you revise because you know you can't think in that same way versus where you're in your bedroom, you're studying and you're doing the questions, you're getting the answers, you're getting the structure of how you lay out the formatting of your answers and all the marks and stuff. Exam pressure doesn't define you.
100%. And some people just don't work well under that kind of pressure.
Yeah.
Like, I talk about players not dealing with pressure. I would crumble, but I'm not paid 300 grand a week. Do you know what I mean? So, I always think about like, what would I tell my kids about exam? I remember revising for my GCSEs, I think was the most stressed I've ever been in my life, genuinely. And I just didn't need to be. Like, yes, they're important. Yes, I'm not saying anyone listening, I'm not saying go and throw your GCSEs and forget about them. They're important and they help you get to the next stage. But yeah, firstly, I agree with what you're saying in terms of a lot of it's just a memory test, and a lot of it's about pressure and getting it right on the day and the right thing coming up, and so much that you can't control. Ironically, same as Arsenal. But also you could get 15 Fs, or they're not even Fs these days, or they're what, 9s or whatever.
9s? No, 1s.
Yeah,
I think
1s or whatever it is. You could get 15 terrible results, and you'd be fine. Like, your life will be okay. And so good luck, everyone, if you're taking exams. Hold that. Liverpool have never won an EPL title versus a team who wasn't decimated with injuries. Just putting it out there. Yeah. So what happened 1920 with City? I'm starting an agenda here, people.
God.
Who did they lose? 1920 Man City's season. Company left. Obviously had COVID. But what happened? Can anyone remember?
Oh, 1920.
Yeah, when Liverpool last won the league, what happened with City?
Oh yeah, I think they had quite a few injuries. I think Laporte went down. I can't remember now, but yeah, they had quite a few injuries, and that's why they just weren't able to build. Having said that, I mean, Liverpool that season was something else.
Well, John Stones only made 16 Premier League appearances. Leroy Sané made 1, or did he leave? He might have left.
No, he didn't leave in 1920.
When did Sané leave?
I think it was the following season.
I mean, to be fair, Edison had 35 Prem appearances. Bernardo Silva had 35 Prem appearances. De Bruyne had 35 Prem appearances. Roger had 35. I think they were all right.
No, I think they did have quite a few injuries.
Aguero only had 24 appearances, to be fair. We'll blame injuries. Jesus with both knees pre-World Cup 22 would have cooked yesterday. He absolutely would. And also, Mikel's mentioned him a lot of times. He said, like, if he could go back and change what I don't think Mikel thinks Jesus is done, by the way. I think we might.
Yeah, do you know? No, but to be fair to Jesus, before the latest injury, he was cooking. It felt like he was getting back to it, and I think when he had that he spoke about it, it's like we kind of brought him back to life. He could feel it as well. He could, and he must have seen it in training as well. And he did feel like that. It felt Jesus was very inevitable every single time in that little period.
For me, this season, I'll be cautious to say like 6th or 7th, but I think we shouldn't underestimate what if a returning Jesus is back by, let's say, October, November time. I think there's an impact he can have in next season. I don't want to rely on him in the same way as Tomiyasu. Like Tomiyasu for me is a player who I basically put over there and say, if you can prove your fitness next season and get into the team, I'll keep you. If not, you go next summer. Yeah. And Jesus is the same. But both of them could have an impact, and it's potentially something there. He's also probably one of the only players who has that bit of that maverick quality to him, right? So back to Page. Why don't we consider the amount of times they hit the woo? Back to Page. Why don't we consider the amount T of timers they hit the woo? Scoreboard sympathy. I want to thank you for your super chat.
I just don't know what that means.
I don't really know what that means. Do you mean woodwork? Like PSG hit the woodwork?
No. Well, they only hit it twice. Didn't they? Well, we didn't hit. Did we hit
How many times did they hit the woodwork?
Twice over the 2 legs.
Once with was it Ramos?
Yeah,
and then the other was
Kvaratskhelia. Yeah.
Why don't we consider it around?
I mean, good strike from Kvaratskhelia.
Why didn't we get him in January?
I think that was already sorted though, like in a year in advance. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think that was in the pipeline. Like with Zubimendi for us.
I actually prefer us saying hit the woo.
Hit the woo. Right. We need to leave.
Royan's done. We've got a few more super chats. We've got to finish.
Of course.
Anurag says, sad week as we will also lose the unbeaten versus Big Six trophy this weekend.
No, we will not.
I think we're going to beat Liverpool. No prediction.
I'll tell you now, I'm looking at these next few games and I want a response. Go out with a bit of pride. And do that guard of honor. And make sure it hurts you.
Do it. But I think this is a great opportunity to win at Anfield. I really do. Because what was it, Sunday?
Yeah, Sunday, 4:30.
Sunday. They're on the beach. We need to go to Anfield, give them that guard of honor, and then absolutely slap them physically. Give them a response.
I feel like they won't even be on the beach for this game.
Well, maybe not, but I want to get that monkey off our back. I really do. I just don't want to deal with we've never won at Anfield since 13-14. Go and win at Anfield. Go and show us. And actually, Mikel said this in his post-match. He was like, they were like, are you going to be, how are you going to get the players up to go again? And he said, if you can't get up, Marquinhos says, 11 times in the Champions League. If you can't get up for a football game, you shouldn't be in the game. You've got to be able to get up. We went out. So you got nothing. Go and win at Anfield.
Can't wait for this win. It's happening.
Final one from Abu says, if Arteta got sacked or retired, Christ, who is the best candidate for this project next?
That'd be very sad, wouldn't it?
Just slot. Imagine he retires after going out to PSG. I like Thomas Frank personally.
Yeah, I think I actually. Do you know what? He's really growing on me. I need to do a bit more of a research, though.
People saying promote Yova. I really like Thomas Frank. Rohan Jivan?
Maybe.
I think is not Nagelsmann's available, isn't
he? No, he's a German coach, isn't he?
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Well, you can get him out of that.
Yeah.
Ancelotti.
No.
Ancelotti with this group of players. Christ. Okay, Rohan. That was a good therapy session.
We'll finish there.
We'll finish there, he says.
That's your line, isn't it? We'll finish there.
Look, incredibly...
I feel a little bit better, not going to lie.
I said this at the top of the show. If you remember, I said in an hour and a half, we'll feel better.
Yeah, I do feel a little better.
We will feel better.
A little bit better.
Look, final closing thoughts.
Do you feel better?
Yeah. Closing thoughts. We are all frustrated. Obviously we are. But hopefully we've said enough to sort of not go into this in too much detail. But there's so much to be encouraged about, I think.
I agree.
Because the problems that we have are not, in my opinion, not unfixable. And secondly, I don't think we've attempted to fix them yet.
Yeah.
So I want to see the fix. I want to see what Berta does. I want to see how we get on with things. And I'm also quite looking forward to these last 3 Premier League games because I think we're going to do something quite interesting. I have a feeling that we might see some interesting changes. Let me put it that way. Bukayo Saka left back. Closing thoughts?
Yeah, we're not trying to gaslight you. This is raw.
I am.
And it's
I am. That's what I do the whole time.
But
I'm working. You got to remember, I'm working for Sky. You always forget this.
Oh yeah, exactly. You PR merchant.
PR merchant.
No, I think there's a lot to be encouraged by. It is difficult right now. It's gutting, but this team's still got so much to give. The moment this group of players doesn't play for the manager, that's where I start to get worried. They're with him, so, and I'm with him, and I'm on that train.
Arsenal till the end, till we die, till the wheels fall off.
Oh yeah,
my club. Rohan is desperate for this live to end. Thank you all for being here. Hope you enjoyed your therapy session. We're here every Thursday at 7:30 p.m. for about an hour and a half, although it depends how long these go. Rohan, where can people find you?
Just on Twitter, Rohan Jivan, AFC.
What about Instagram? Do you want people to follow you on Instagram?
Not really, but you can do. You can do if you want to. I'll accept it, yeah.
Are you private?
Yeah, I'm private. Are you?
I am now, yeah.
Yeah, I'm private.
Vincent says, do you mind if we follow you home? And what's your postcode? Thanks, Rohan.
Nice one.
Thank you for being here. Arsenal rubbish, but we're here. We've got it. Love you all. See you next Thursday. Bye-bye. Thanks for keeping it Arsenal. Bye-bye.
Tens of thousands of football fans came to Highbury. Electrifying.